I just had the worst date ever. We went to a museum, but he didn't enjoy it. So after 5 minutes, we just left, and he didn't really talk to me. So I was like, maybe he doesn't like me. But then he suggested to have dinner. So I was like, okay, let's have dinner. We went to the dinner place, and then after dinner, where I made friendly conversation to entertain the sir, he asked to pay Dutch. And I was like, no, I don't do that. I don't go Dutch. And then he was like, but you're from Switzerland, you're rich. And then I was like, no, I have my own startup. I don't have any money. I spend all my money on my startup. And luckily, I showed him my bank statement. Like, I showed him my bank account because I'm broke. I have like $5 on my account. And then he paid. But I don't think I will ever see him again.
I can't fucking look at myself without being disgusted. Like, what the fuck is that, bro? Ew! Like, you're so fucking gross! What's fucking wrong with you? Ah! What's wrong with you?
Is there any hope in dating? Because I kind of give up. It's too much. Even the people that I don't really care about that much, like, the rejection fucking sucks. It's like, I feel like I'm so trapped in my hometown. Like, people that could maybe be worth it aren't willing to date anybody outside of where they live. And I don't want to date anybody where the fuck I live. You know what I mean? It's tough. And being a single mom doesn't help anything. I don't know, it just feels like life is like, fuck this fucking end of year Christmas season. Blah.
Y'all, I just sent a boy a fucking selfie in my bathroom from this angle. Do you see the issue? Do you see the motherfucking issue? Yeah. That is so fucking embarrassing. That is so fucking embarrassing. That is so embarrassing.
She's a whore.
Is going out for coffee considered a date? Because I don't think it is. For me, if I'm going to step out the house and agree to go on a date with you, there is absolutely no way on earth that I'm going to agree to go on a coffee date. No thought required in a coffee date, because all you're going to do is just go in and order a coffee, and it has nothing to do with the money. I'd happily go on like a very, very cheap date, but I would want something that is planned, something that is personal to me, not you just randomly go, oh, let's go get coffee. I just think if that's the first date suggestion, you're kind of setting the bar very, very low, and you're also expecting that I'm going to be okay with you putting absolutely no effort into a date. Also, I just think, at what point can you say to someone that that's not an appropriate date suggestion? Or do you just come across like a bitch for saying that you don't want to go on a coffee date? I feel the same way about going out for drinks for a first date, because I think we are not going to be ourselves if there's alcohol involved. We're going to have a different personality. I'm not going to be able to get to know you for who you are. And I get it, like, the first date is so daunting, but I just want a bit of effort in the first date. I want you to plan something amazing, something that I will think, wow, there's so much effort and thought gone into it. Not a very low effort girl. Like, I need to see that you're putting in the effort. Otherwise, where is this gonna go? I'm trying to branch out and date different sorts of men, and it just seems to keep circling back to just nonsense coming out of these men's mouths, and I don't know.
So I was in the gym the other day and I overheard this conversation with two guys and a woman, probably in their 30s and 40s. And one of the guys said to the other two, if she's attractive, over 30 and single, there is definitely something wrong with her. And the other two laughed and agreed. I swear, I had such a strong urge to go and jump in the conversation and educate them, but I know that's not my place. But it did make me think about the fact that how this sentence says so much about our culture than it does about any woman, because we don't say this about men. A single man in his 30s and 40s is seen as focused, selective, or building his life, whilst a single woman at the same age is questioned to why she's single, overanalysed, or assumed to be the issue. Same situation, completely different story. And women are often made to feel like they've been left on the shelf or not chosen, But the reality is that doesn't get talked about enough is that a lot of women are single because they've made an active choice. They've grown, stopped overgiving and mothering partners, they've stopped settling, and some have chosen freedom and peace over being in the wrong relationship. So a woman being single doesn't mean that there's something wrong with her. And being in a relationship doesn't automatically mean that someone is healthy either. Sometimes being single is what happens when a woman stops abandoning herself to try and prove to everybody else that she's enough.
She calls it the worst date ever, but watch the math. He planned a museum, realised fast it wasn't clicking, pivoted to dinner anyway. That's adjustment, not failure. She decides he doesn't like her because he's quiet, then keeps score the whole night like it's a performance review. Then comes the main event, the bill. She refuses to go Dutch, insists she's broke, and pulls up her bank statement like it's courtroom evidence. $5, a startup, and a moral victory. He pays. Date over. She still loses respect for him when she is the one who is broke. She is offended by coffee, not the man, the beverage. To her, coffee means low effort, even though it's literally designed to talk, assess chemistry, and leave clean if there's none. She wants a first date that feels like a Netflix finale, planned, personalised, memorable, for a man she hasn't even decided she likes yet. She says it's not about money, but everything she says is about performance. She wants effort before interest, investment before evaluation. Drinks are out, coffee is out, but somehow he's supposed to design an amazing experience while knowing almost nothing about her. What she's really reacting to is uncertainty. Coffee doesn't flatter her ego enough. It doesn't signal priority. It doesn't prove desire. So she reframes efficiency as laziness and calls it standards. Then she wonders why dating feels like nonsense. When every first interaction needs to feel like a highlight reel, most men just stop auditioning.
No question about that.
She is offended because a sentence hit too close to the squat rack. Instead of asking why the pattern exists, she rewrites it as oppression. Attractive, over 30, single, and somehow it's always culture's fault. Never behaviour, never choices, never patterns. She says men get grace for being single because they're building, while women are questioned. But that's because men's value usually compounds with discipline, stability, and consistency. Women's dating value is judged by relationship outcomes, not intentions or inner journeys. She reframes singleness as choosing peace, not settling, stopping overgiving. Sounds noble until it's been 5, 10, 15 years of the same speech. At some point, peace looks a lot like avoidance with good branding. Being single doesn't mean something's wrong, but when the explanation is always spiritual growth and never self-audit, it starts sounding less like empowerment and more like damage control.
She's damaged goods.
Real men of genius.